You're listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. I'm Elena Paweta, Executive Communication Coach and TEDx organizer. With each episode, I'll share with you communication tips and ideas from top business leaders to help you excel in your career. Hello, welcome to the next episode of Ideas and Leaders podcast. Today, my guest is Connor Marriott. He's CEO at Instinct Education, where he enrolled over 5,000 business experts to master their client acquisition. And this is what we're going to speak about today. Hi, Connor. It's great to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, Connor, maybe we have listeners from different businesses, and maybe you can, to inspire us in the beginning, you can tell about your own story. How did you start in the online business, and how did you start with mastering client acquisition?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started off when I left high school. I was a personal trainer, and I was a personal trainer for 3 or 4 years. And throughout that time, I was looking for new ways to get clients, and that's when I started learning about like online advertising. And whilst I knew how to do that for personal training, I found that I was enjoying the how to get clients part of things more than actually training the clients. And so because I was doing it, I had other business owners that I trained, and they were curious how I was getting clients. They started asking me for advice. And so I decided to start a marketing agency. So doing marketing for small businesses. And that went on for a couple of years. But what we found was that often business owners think the problem is marketing, and they think they need more leads. But typically it's coming from a number of factors. It might be that they don't have the right offer. It might be that they don't have the right lead nurture systems. They might not have the right onboarding process. And so a lot of our clients, we were generating them leads, but they weren't able to convert them. Maybe like the receptionist wasn't calling them, or they weren't following up, or they didn't have like a clear offer that they could articulate. And so what we found was that like we were doing everything we could, but the businesses weren't getting the result they wanted. And so what we started doing was teaching them like, okay, here's how you have your sales process. Here's how you do your lead nurture. And that kind of evolved to the point where we just started focusing on the education, because it was, people got much better results when they kind of took ownership of the entire system rather than just relying on like this company to generate leads. So that's how we created Instinct Education. And since then, it's just been a process of really trying to understand like how to structure the process in the simplest way so that we can make what seems overwhelming, like things like marketing and sales, and make them as simple and basic as possible so that anyone can come in and start generating clients without having to get tied down by all the jargon and confusion when it comes to online advertising.
Yeah, that's really great what you're doing, because I think that online business has a lot of, it seems easy, but it has a lot of details, that the things that need to be done. If you would speak to a person who is just starting in the online business, what would you recommend? Where to start? If you have an offer, if you have something to offer, what are the main steps that we need to do in order to start on the road to success?
Yeah, so assuming they've already got an offer, which is essentially what you do, the first step would be working on your messaging. And so the way we kind of define messaging is like your offer is what you do, your messaging is how you explain what you do to the market. And so within that, there's 3 things. You've got the market, like the target market. You've got the problem that they're facing. And this is not always the problem you solve, because the problem that as the market experience it may be different to the problem you solve. Like let's take weight loss, for example. The problem may be that someone's overweight, but the problem that they're experiencing is maybe they've got low energy or they've got low confidence. And so getting clear on like, how is that problem showing up in their life? And then from there, the third thing is the outcome. Like, what is their desired outcome? What would they be doing if they didn't have this problem? And so this is like it's a very important first step, because often business owners, they're great at what they do. They're like, they know they can help people, but people don't know that they need the help. And so like an analogy would be, if you, let's say one day you like go downstairs and your floor's flooded, and the reason it's flooded is because there's a broken pipe, but you don't know that there's a broken pipe. You just see there's water on the floor. And so if you saw an ad saying like, hey, I can fix a broken pipe, you're not going to know that that's going to help you because you just see water. And so instead, if someone said, hey, do you have water on the floor? I can help with that. Now you're communicating with the prospect on the level that they're at. And so this is why like messaging is important, because most business owners are just like, I can fix a broken pipe, but the clients or the prospects don't understand that is why they're seeing this problem. They only see the symptom, which is the water.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important. And I was working on this in my own business, as I'm a communication coach, and I do TEDx coaching. And I was telling that, hey, I can get you on the TEDx stage. You can become a TEDx speaker. And people were like, what is TEDx? Why do I need to do that? And then I would say that, yeah, I can get you more exposure. I can get you more marketing and promotion in your business. And they're like, oh yeah, I really need that. So I think that it is very important to do the messaging in terms of your client, not thinking about your product, but thinking about their needs. So when we have this, when we know who is our ideal client, what are their needs, how can we get them? And I know that you are also specializing in high ticket clients. So what are the ways that you're recommending usually that work, how we can get those high ticket clients?
Cool. So yeah, the once you've got that, you know who you're talking to, then for your acquisition, which is how you get clients, there's two parts. You've got your marketing and then your sales. And so if we start with sales, what we would recommend if you're selling like higher ticket is to do it over the phone. And the reason that that's beneficial, and this is probably a good place for most people to start anyway, because for someone to make a purchase, they really need to know that this is going to solve the problem. And so if you just send someone to a landing page or like a website with like a buy now button, if that page doesn't answer every question or every objection they have, the person's not going to buy. And you're not going to know why they didn't buy. You're just going to see zeros like in your Stripe account. And so if you start with a sales call, you learn like what objections people have, what concerns people have, and then you understand what they want. And so with sales, there's three things that you need to achieve. They're real basic. Number one is the person you're speaking to needs to want to solve the problem. Number two is that they need to believe that your offer will solve the problem for them specifically, not just that it can solve the problem, but it'll work for them. And number three is they believe the value of solving the problem outweighs the cost. And so if those three things are achieved, the person will move forward. If they're not, they're going to say something like, let me think about it, or it's too much money. Again, that's coming from like, if they're saying it's too much money, it's because they don't believe the value of solving this problem outweighs the cost. And so the way you can overcome that is by explaining or helping them realize that, if you solve this problem or if you achieve this outcome, like how will that affect things? How will other areas of your life improve? And you can kind of build that out. And so that's sales. And then when it comes to marketing or acquisition, this is where most people get lost because there's like so many platforms, so many things to do. And yeah, basically everyone will tell you that you need to do 100 different things. At the start, I strongly advise just picking one platform. So wherever, now that you know what your market is, because you figured out your messaging, you can then determine where they're most likely going to be. It could be Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or TikTok or wherever. And then focusing on that one platform and understanding the steps of basically getting someone onto a call. It's going to be like, you need their attention. Then, so that could be in the form of an ad or a post. And then from there, it's going to be an interaction. So that's getting them to actually interact with that thing and like taking the first step. And so that ties into your messaging too. If you're quite vague with like who I'm talking to, people can see your ad, but they're probably not going to click. And so having really good messaging in the ad is going to get people to interaction. So you got attention, interaction. And then from there, if you're picking one platform, again, the easiest way is to start a conversation rather than trying to send someone somewhere. Start a conversation because again, you can kind of see where they're at. You can answer questions as they come and you learn your market better. And so with a conversation, it's basically a process of asking like, what are you doing? What are your goals? What are you finding are the roadblocks between where you are and where you want to go? And then saying something like, are you open to getting some help with that? And most people will say yes. And you can say, cool, let's set aside some time. We can jump on a call, run through some strategies our clients are using to get that result that you want. And then from there, if you want to help, great. If not, great. Either way, you'll learn something. And so that's kind of how we can get them to the call. And then, yeah, from there, it's a sales process.
Yeah. So what you're suggesting is to actually talk to people, ask about their problems and have those conversations online. And what about targeting, do you think that it is possible to target your ideal client? Because I think that it is really hard to know our clients so well that we can, with our ads and with our communication, that we can target only our people that we want to get. How do you manage this issue?
Yeah, so I think the thing with targeting is like now, because of the online algorithms, targeting is like they're very, very good at knowing who you're trying to find. And so it's almost never a problem of targeting. People think like, oh, if my ad was more targeted, it would work. More often than not, your ad's being shown to the people. It's just that they're seeing it and ignoring it. And so that goes back to the messaging, because if you can, like, yeah, you can be very specific with targeting, and the algorithms know exactly who you're trying to find. And they're actually wanting your ad to be seen by those people, because that means you're going to keep paying them. So they want your ad to do well, but they can put your ad in front of someone, and they have, from there, they have no control, right? So we can put like to take it to an extreme, like a blank message in front of someone, that can be seen by 1 million people and no one's going to do anything. And so targeting is very rarely the issue. It's more so that like when people are seeing what you're putting out, are they responding? And then that ties back to the messaging. So that's why we start there, because everything's kind of built off that. And the more specific that can be, like the effectiveness of marketing is basically a ratio, right? Every 100 people that see this ad, or every 1,000 people that see this ad, what percent are going to click or move forward? And the way we increase that is not by necessarily improving the targeting. Of course, if your targeting is like way off, but it very rarely happens. It's more so like, how do we make sure that once someone sees this, they're actually going to do it? And so then we can talk about like how to increase the value or perceived value of starting this interaction. But yeah, that's kind of like, it's very rarely a targeting issue. It's more like a people are seeing it and not caring issue.
Yeah. So this is coming back to the beginning, to our messaging, that we need to really think through from the very beginning. Connor, do you say that you're helping your clients to get multiple high-ticket clients every month? And I'm sure that it involves a certain element of automation. So you cannot just get many clients by messaging them every day and having conversation with them. Of course you can, but it will be exhausting. So what do you recommend? Do you recommend certain automation and funnels to your clients, or what is your recommendation? Is it good or is it bad?
Yeah, it can. So like we kind of break it down into like, if someone's starting out, they're trying to get that, like the saying is like, validate before you automate. So we want to validate that this messaging is working, people are responding before we look at automating. Provided that's happening, then yes, a great way to scale is using a funnel, which is basically like what we're essentially doing is taking that conversation. Let's say there's 4 steps. We need to like make this person realize we can help them. We need to make sure this person has a problem that we can help them with. We need to like make them realize that it's possible. And then we offer the call. That can happen in the conversation. But then if we know what those steps are, we know what those objections are, we know how to do that, we can then put it into a funnel, which is basically a series of static pages, and you can have videos and stuff in that. But when I say static, I mean like it's not changing, it's not dynamic for each person where the conversation is. So once you kind of start with the conversation, you learn like what these people want, what questions they have, then we can put that into a funnel, which could be, you know, like a video covering that. It could be a quiz, works pretty well. It could be a webinar, although the cost of those are going up, so I probably wouldn't suggest starting there. But there's a number of ways you could do it. Yeah, but I would definitely always start with the kind of manual way, and then from there, if you want to scale, like let's say you want to start bringing on like several clients a day, and you have a team, and you need to fill out their calendars, like now you probably want to be automating a good portion of that.
Yeah. So when we are already in this place where we can automate, we know that we have a certain service or product that it is working. We have the messaging in place, and we know who is our client. What are the steps to perfect automation or funnel? Do you have anything that really works that you recommend to your clients, or there is no one size fits all?
Yes and no. It depends on your goal. So there's this relationship between marketing and sales, and people view them as like separate things, but they're part of the same process. And it's the process of taking someone who's never heard of you, and then making them a client. And so within that, there's this warming up period where we need to like educate, give value, make sure they believe we can help them. And so in regards to the best funnel or best process, there's not necessarily one, but there's ones that, like, let's say you're very confident with your sales, then you could go for a system that's basically optimizing for volume with your marketing. And so you're getting a lot of leads, a lot of calls, but they're not so warm. And now your sales is doing the heavy lifting. On the other hand, if you don't really want to rely on your sales, you could do a funnel or a strategy that's going to do more warming up so that by the time you speak to someone, like they're already ready to go. And so the best two for them, if you're going for the volume, we've found, and we've tested, we like have done many, many tests with all different funnels. If we're optimizing for volume, the simplest way is a quiz funnel. And so that would be basically find out XYZ outcome that the market wants, asking them 4 or 5 questions. And by doing that, we're kind of framing like the fact that they need help. And so that ties into like the types of questions we're asking. For example, if you're helping someone get leads, you could ask, rather than saying like, how many leads are you getting each day? You could ask, how many leads are you getting each day, and give them options. Like you could say not a lot is less than 50, because like 50 a week, because not many people are getting 50 a week. So the way you ask the question can frame the answer. And so if someone says not a lot, less than 50, in their minds, they're thinking, well, I'm not getting a lot of leads. I really need help with this. And so ask them some questions in the quiz, and then basically say like book a call. That will get a lot of volume. They're not going to be super warm, but that can be counteracted with things like email automations to like nurture them. If you're going for like more of the warming up done with the marketing, then I would suggest probably the VSL funnel, which is a video sales ladder, which is basically taking people from an ad to a video. That video could be 10 to 30 minutes long. You're educating, you're qualifying, and then from there, you're saying if you'd like to learn more, you can book a call. And so that's going to warm them up a lot more than the quiz. The quiz is going to get you more volume. So it's kind of like, what do you want? Like, do you want quantity or quality? And so that's kind of how I would break that down.
Yeah, great. Thanks for the tips. I think that those people who will see the video, they will definitely be more better quality leads, because they would be more involved and they would spend more time with you, those 20-30 minutes listening to you. And yeah, but this definitely I think that it is worth trying out different strategies for different types of businesses, also, and different clients, of course. And if you would, I'm sure that you're working with newbies and with people who are in business for some time. So if you would if you get a client and something is not working, so let's say they have everything in place, they have the messaging, and they have the funnels, and they have their clients, but they are not getting the amount of clients they want. So what are the main steps that you go through to check what is not working, what is working? So because we have, as our listeners, we have a lot of people who have their businesses and their online businesses as well. So what is the checklist that you would recommend to go through to check if everything is working?
Yeah, so it's actually quite simple once you know what you're looking for. And a lot of people, they kind of look at one thing as one thing, when like any strategy, it's a series of steps. And so if we were going, let's say the VSL funnel, the steps start like you've got an ad, someone clicks on the ad, then they'll typically go to a landing page where they opt in with like an email address, then they watch the video, then they book the call, then they show up to the call, and then you hopefully make a sale. And so it is never a case of just this doesn't work. It's like, where doesn't it work? And so you can start like, are people clicking on our ad? Yes. Are they clicking on our ad for a cost that we're happy with? Yes. If the answer is no, then the problem's the ad. And so we can improve that. If they are clicking on the ad, are they getting to the landing page? Yes. If no, the landing page is loading too slow, or maybe it's not mobile optimized, and so people are leaving. If they're getting to the landing page, are they opting in? If it's a no, then the problem is the landing page. So we need to change the messaging. We need to maybe make it speak to them more, or list the benefits a bit better. If they're opting in and they're watching the video, are they booking a call? No. Okay. Are they watching all of the video? No. Okay. Maybe we need a better video. And if they're getting to the end of the call and they're not booking a call, maybe we need a stronger call to action. And then if they're booking a call, but they're not showing up, now we need better nurture systems or reminders. And then finally, if they're showing up to the call and we're not making sales, then it's probably a sales issue. And so that process can be done with like any system. It's simply just like breaking down what are the steps, where are we getting to, like where's the bottleneck, and then from there you can like figure out what we could do to solve the bottleneck or overcome the bottleneck.
Yeah. So we need to do our numbers and to check at what step are we losing our clients, and this is definitely a great strategy. So and also the last question I wanted to ask you is about high ticket clients. So you are helping your clients to actually work with fewer clients, but in order to be able to get maybe less clients, but more revenue from them. What is your recommendation how to work with high ticket clients? Is there any specific messaging that you need, or specific targeting, or what should we do if we want to get more high ticket clients?
So I think there's probably two things, maybe three. Number one is going to be like focusing on the transformation, not the tool. So like what you were saying before, if you're helping people get a like TEDx gig, that's kind of like the tool, that's the method. And so no one wants a method. They want what the method will get them. And so like the value of the method is going to be significantly less than the value of a great outcome. And so like number one, just changing it from, you know, I'll help you speak on stage versus I'll like help you gain the exposure you need to consistently grow your business each month. Like those two, and the way we do that is still the same, but the outcome, the value of the outcome is significantly higher. That's the first thing. And then I would say the second thing would be improving. So when we help people create their offer, we look at like, what is the promise? So, you know, let's say it was increase your brand, increase your exposure. And then what are we doing to like deliver on that promise? And are we doing everything? And so like a real simple example would be like, if my promise was in regards to weight loss, if I said, I'll help you lose 10 kilos, but all I gave you was a diet plan, then that's not really fulfilling on it completely, because there's more to weight loss than just your diet, right? You've got your exercise, you got sleep, you got habits, you got supplements, you got routines, like there's all these different things. And so if you look at the scope of what we're doing, if we know like the problem, we know what we're promising, how much are we really delivering on all of those steps so that like we are fully doing? And when we do that, then again, the value is higher and we can charge more, because we're not just offering a diet plan, we're offering the outcome. And we know we're going to get the outcome because we looked at everything. And so the more of those different areas we can look at, and the more we can like improve and make sure that clients get the result, then yeah, people are going to be more happy. They're going to be happy to pay more if there's a higher like likelihood of achieving the outcome. So yeah, you could pay $20 for a diet plan, but is that going to get you there? Maybe not. Whereas if someone says, I guarantee I'm going to get you to lose 10 kilos, like I'm going to pay that person more because they're promising the outcome. And so they're probably the two things that will help with high ticket. People pay more for the outcome.
Yeah. We need to focus on the outcome and not only on our products, right? That we love our products and we keep speaking about them, but it is not about us. It is about the client. Great. Thank you so much, Connor, for all the tips. I think that our listeners will be so happy to look at your program. I know that you're offering a program. So if we want to find you to learn more about what you do, where can we do it?
So the best place is probably Instagram. So it's Connor_Marriott. And if you follow me there, send me a message, we can send you some free training. Sorry. Or if you want more help, we can organize to talk about that. But yeah, we like to send our followers free training. So Connor_Marriott.
Perfect. Thank you. We will definitely put the link to your Instagram under our episode so that our listeners can immediately contact you after the episode. Thank you so much, Connor. It was a pleasure speaking to you, and good luck with your program in the future.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to Ideas and Leaders podcast. Did you enjoy this episode? Let me know that you listened by tagging me in your LinkedIn profile and using a hashtag Ideas and Leaders. next episode.